I have the honor of introducing today's guest speaker, Gordy Rush of the class of 1986. While at Jesuit, Gordy distinguished himself as a scholar athlete who displayed an aggressive attitude in the classroom and on the football field. He quickly earned a reputation as a hard-hitting linebacker on the Blue Jay football team. And at the end of his high school career, Gordy had earned 3 letters in football: the Morris Redmond Award for Outstanding Senior Football Letterman who best combined scholarship and athletics, and the Student Athlete of the Year Award from the New Orleans Sports Foundation. Gordy also lettered in track, and as a senior, was a member of the choir and served as student council secretary. After Jesuit, Gordy accepted a football scholarship to Purdue University, and after playing a year as backup cornerback to future NFL All-Pro defensive back Rod Woodson, Gordy transferred to LSU. On the Tiger football team, his hard-hitting special teams play earned him the Special Teams Player of the Year award in 1990. He earned his LSU business degree in '91 and immediately began a very successful media career. This fall will mark Gordy's 23rd season covering the LSU football team as a sideline reporter. He also comes off the bench when needed to replace Doug Morrow in the press box as color commentator next to Jim Hawthorne. He serves as Vice President of Guaranteed Broadcasting, owner of 5 Baton Rouge area radio stations. He hosts the Inside LSU Football with Les Miles television show. In 2009, Gordy received the Golden Mike Award for the state's top on-air talent, and last year he was recognized as the Broadcaster of the Year by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters. Gordy has been an active alumnus, presently leading the effort to organize an alumni chapter in the Baton Rouge area. Gordy and his wife, Ashley, had 3 children. Please welcome, from the class of 1986, Gordy Rush.
Was May of 1986. I was a senior attending my last Mass with the full student body at the Chapel of North American Martyrs. And looking forward, obviously, to my next endeavor and what have you, just like a lot of you are here. And I was in the choir, although I was certainly not Jim McCormick, didn't have his talents. My classmate who's here, certainly not Harry Connick Jr. from the class of 1985. But I sat next to Glenn Melville, our student council president, in the choir. We volunteered for the choir, and we sat in the back of the church on the altar, which is behind where the priests are doing the Mass, right? And so underneath my chair, I don't know if anybody's seen it, but there was a little brass plate with 5 black buttons. Well, back in my time, and I went and saw this last week, when you had a little, like a cover on it, when you lifted it, you could see the buttons. Now that cover's not there. Well, anyway, during the Mass, which was being done by Father Harry Thompson, who was the president at that time, during the presentation of the gifts, I decided to roll the dice. I was a senior, right? We do that sometimes. And I pressed one of those buttons. So it was Body of Christ and dong. Look, behold, I have found the buttons for the bells for the altar boys. So I didn't get a reaction from Father Thompson, so I felt as if I skated. Well, we got to a song, Isaiah 49, probably still used here, correct, right? I remember that. I will never, for that one, correct. So I decided to roll the dice a little further. I will never, dong, forget you, dong, dong. My people, dong, 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 dong. So we get through the song, and the Mass is good. I'm skated. I'm excited. I'm just a senior who's a rebel. And as I'm leaving the Chapel of North American Martyrs, boom, Harry Thompson pops up. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I believe there's some tunnels or something the SJ's got going, like the transporter in Star Trek, where they just magically appear, right? You're looking this way, boom, SJ. And so there was Father Harry Thompson. And he hit me up with a, Mr. Rush. Yes, sir. Yes, Father. Yes. Football player. Yes, sir. I played football here at Jesuit. Fast guy, track. Yeah, track, right? Yes, sir. That's me. Going to Purdue, Boilermaker. Yes, sir, I'm going up to play in the Big Ten. Band. Don't remember you in the band. But, gee. Come to my office, Mr. Rush. So I got the bonus package in Harry Thompson's office afterwards. So why do I bring up that story? Well, simply because it doesn't matter, senior class, how many PHs you've gotten, right? Even if you were, say, late for a class and you did a head dive in the science lab and you beat the bell. However, the teacher didn't see it that way, and if there was instant replay back in the day, you would have been safe. I was safe. It doesn't matter how many PHs you got or what kind of trouble you got at Jesuit. I am living proof that 28 years later, they will forgive you. And Matt Grau, in 28 years, because I know you'll be here in 28 years, you too are eligible to possibly come back and give the keynote speech at the senior commencement luncheon. So there you go. Father Fitzgerald, Mr. Kearney, and the administrative team, faculty, alumni, most importantly, class of 2014, I truly am humbled to be invited to come back to Jesuit High School and share some memories with you. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces, and shame on me, living just 90 miles up the road. I don't get back here quite as often, and it's times like this that I don't like the fact that I don't get back here quite as often. I'd like to thank Mr. Grau for having me back, and especially thank you for putting me at a table between an Alabama, an Ole Miss, and a UL grad. If there's an Auburn or you got an Arkansas, Texas A&M, why don't we just put all SEC rivals to LSU down here at the front table? I did want to tell you also, I reviewed the banners from your class and the 2014 class. It's not even close. 2014, you are the winner of the best banner. And finally, I had to have fun with this. I was thinking back after Matt and Tom and I met. I was looking through my Jesuit file, and the teacher's no longer here, so I won't call her out. But she gave me a C in public speaking. Whoops. I just wanted to say that. I give her a hard time, but anyway, having fun. Life lessons learned at Jesuit High School in Carrollton and Banks, and my message here is for the seniors. And 28 years removed from Jesuit High School, I look back and having a chance to talk with some folks on things that I've learned or things I learned at Jesuit that I think have meant so much to me in life. And we talked about it at breakfast the other morning. And first and foremost, I will tell you the uniform. And just not because it's a uniform, but it's the fact that Jesuit High School took people, kids from all over the city, from different neighborhoods, from different walks of life. I was a middle-class kid from the West Bank, sitting with one of the, obviously wealthiest families in Baton Rouge, another family here on the right, in New Orleans. Sitting next to me right there was somebody busting their behind during recess to make ends meet and pay for their scholarship. What I like so much about that, looking back on it, that's life. When you get into a huddle and you're out there on the football team and you got to play with kids that are from different parts of the state, all sorts of different backgrounds, it doesn't matter. You find a way to make it happen. You find a way to be successful. When you're running a company, not only do you're involved with people from different backgrounds but different religions, you find a way to make it happen. That uniform, basically you put it on, everyone is equal, you find a way to be successful as a class, and obviously the class of 2014 has done so. The second part of that uniform is real simple, the attention to detail. I don't know if Coach Kaiser's here. I had a chance to see him last week, but I can tell you from a football standpoint, the difference in winning and losing is this. It's the same way in the business world. The name tag's got to go here, the buckle's got to be shiny, the shoes need to be polished. You can't deviate from what the uniform is. There's a reason for that, because that's life. You get up and this is how I operate. My day starts A, B, C, D, E. I can't mix it up. For that, I'm thankful for the uniform and the steps that I had to go through at Jesuit High School. The second thing is a man for others. I think I'm living proof that it's about giving. Whatever you're going to give out there, it winds up coming back threefold, fourfold. Whatever you heard, it is true. Made a point to go out last 3 nights this week. I was in Shreveport, Monroe, in Houma late last night. I'll travel with Coach Miles wherever he goes. And I do that, and I leave my family, and I'm not paid to do that. But I feel like I owe that to my alma mater for opening up doors that have helped me grow my career. And what's come out of that, not only obviously jobs and chances to grow and from media and things that I do outside of managing our radio cluster, but also it's relationships, it's friendships that have come along. And at Jesuit, they preach a man for others. And do know that's just not some sort of corny saying. It is life. And I preach to you, be a man for others. Give to others. The third thing is the Catholic League Network. I'll go beyond Jesuit here. But I can tell you, and I heard a little bit, Glenn was up here, 6 of my top 20 clients on my radio stations all attended Catholic League high schools in New Orleans. I was hired by a Rummel graduate who ran a company that was owned by a St. Ignatius of Cleveland graduate. I'm on the executive board of the Tiger Athletic Foundation. There are 12 people on that board. The guy who made the decision was a senior vice president of the Tiger Athletic Foundation, is a Holy Cross graduate. My sales managers on my radio station, Holy Cross, Vanderbilt Catholic down in Houma, St. Michael's in Baton Rouge. If you get the drift, there's something special about folks that go through this type of curriculum. The network, the people that you beat heads with on the athletic fields, Holy Cross, Bromont, Shaw. Trust me, I want you to beat all those teams, and you did, especially Shaw, since I'm a West Bank guy. You'll do business. They will be a factor somewhere down the road in your life. And to have that opportunity to be a part of that network has been very beneficial to me. And finally, the most important thing for me is, I think as a young man, coming from a private school, I didn't go to a parochial grammar school. I went to a private school over in the West Bank. But it was the first time that I had a chance to openly discuss a spiritual relationship, that you had peers, and I thought all the priests were absolutely wonderful here at Jesuit, where you talked about not only just memorize what gospel or memorize a verse or memorize the history, but you talked about that relationship. And I'll tell you that for me, it's gotten me through some great times, my relationship with God. It's gotten me through some tough times. In 2007, I got married. My wife was due. My father died overnight. My mother was in a hospital, had 240 over 160 blood pressure. She could have very easily have gone as well. 10 days later, my first son was born. And all of a sudden, I'm running a $10 million a year business up in Baton Rouge in the middle of LSU football season, where I'm being flown around all over all these wonderful towns like Oxford. You'll find out it's beautiful. There's one McDonald's in Oxford. And life changes in an instance. And at that point, you look in the mirror, and are you sound in your faith? Do you believe why God's put you on this planet? I'm blessed because I know that God's put radio in my life because it's a way to give back. It's because of radio I'm here today, and if I can change one person, I can affect one of the alumni in this room, then it was well worth coming down here. And God's in my life. That at that point, I realized, put on your big boy pants. It's time for you to take care of your mother. It's time for you to raise a family. It's time to take life seriously. 3 miracles happened in my life. We sold house. I sold a 5,500 square foot house in Timberlane to a couple in their 70s looking to move to a bigger house. And the chances of that are like this. Sold a condo in Destin. All of that to take care of my mother. These were miracles in my life. So going through adversity, are you fundamentally sound in your relationship with God? I know our Father is going through some adversity. Our prayers are with you. Certainly, God's not going to put something on your plate that you cannot handle. And because of that, and the introduction, and the fact that we could sit there and talk about it with your peers and with priests that understood what you were going through, meant so much to me. So recapping, 4 things, obviously the uniform, and just experience what life is. Be a man for others. Also the Catholic League connection, and finally a spiritual balance. All four of those are life lessons I took from Carrollton and Banks. When I look back 28 years later, they made a difference. They've made the biggest difference in my life, and I certainly appreciate that. Now, finally, you're about seniors to step out in the world. One piece of advice. Got a call from a corporate radio group that was interested in interviewing me for a regional spot. And I was asked something that I hadn't been asked in quite some time. So what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do with your career? I hadn't been asked that in a while. I'd been happy and really hadn't been looking. And quickly I came back. I said, I want to look in the mirror and I want to be true to two people. I want to be true to the man upstairs. I want to be true to the man in the mirror. Because if I'm good with the man upstairs, which is the bigger picture, then everything else in this world is trivial. Secondly, if I'm good with the man in the mirror, and I'm happy, and I'm focused, and I'm fulfilled in my job, I'm fulfilled with my family, fulfilled in my role as a parent, fulfilled most of the time as my role taking care of my 69-year-old mother, then everything else doesn't matter. I'm going to be successful in life, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. So my advice to you, two people, be true to them. Man upstairs, man in the mirror. Thank you for having me. God bless. Good luck.